Hello and welcome to Scale Up AI Soundbites, an engaging series of AI-centric LinkedIn live sessions featuring prominent leaders from across the Insight Partners portfolio. These are the leaders that are shaping the future of AI. These talks set the stage for Scale Up AI, one of the first global conferences that brings together top AI builders, executives, luminaries, and innovators. Insight Partners is thrilled that our portfolio company, Pipefy, is a Scale Up AI partner this year, because that means that I have the opportunity to interview their CEO and founder, Alessio Alionco, today. Welcome, Alessio. Thank you for joining me. I have so many questions for you.
Hello, Nikki. Thank you. Thank you for the invite. I'm really excited as well.
Perfect. So before we dive in, because we're going to be talking all things AI and workflow automation and kind of really how everyone who's tuning in live can get this done, give me a quick introduction to Pipefy.
Pipefy is an AI no-code platform. We help teams digitize and automate better their business operations by using our automation capabilities and our AI agents. So
Fantastic.
we facilitate that. We make it easy.
Perfect. I mean, when I think of it that way, you're kind of what AI is meant for. You're what people dream about that they're actually going to be able to do with AI and utilize it for. But workflow automation has been evolving incredibly rapidly. AI is now becoming very central to the conversation. So how do you see AI transforming workflow automation over the next 5 years? What do you think the biggest challenges are and what opportunities lie ahead for us?
The opportunity is massive. I think that at least for our space, it's like the impact of smartphones. For the following, if you look for AI or workflow automation, it's not something quite new. Like IT teams or engineering teams, they've been benefiting a lot from that in the last like 10 years already. But it truly just existed inside the centers of excellence of the organization, like IT teams with high skilled professionals. When you ask the whole rest of the organization how well they were using technology or they were using AI in their day to day, it was a massive level, not at all. And even now that I think like the market educated a lot, most of the decision business makers, and they are aware they need to move really fast. But when you truly see like, okay, how well you're using, how fast you manage to deploy and use in your day to day and change the life of your teams or the experience of your customers, there's still a massive gap there. And it's a challenge. So that's about to be unblocked with Gen AI, because basically you drastically simplify that journey and make it drastically much easier. It's like GPS 30 years ago, where just armies could use and benefit from, and now everyone like they have like in their mobile phones. It's super easy, intuitive, and accessible. The Gen AI on top of most of the workflow solutions will make that simplification and that consumerization of the journey, and every single team on the planet will be able to use on their day to day. It's already available, and I think that's the massive change that will happen in the next 5 years.
You raise a really good point, because it's truly the unlock will come from either the enablement, which if something is very complex, very technical, there's going to be a natural ceiling about how many people will be able to understand it, how many people are going to be able to use it. Whereas if you start to use Gen AI, it completely unlocks that enablement challenge and puts it really at a team's fingertip. Because, that's something that people will often talk about, is that as AI technologies advance, what's the relationship between human touch in business processes? Like, now that it's so easy that technology can take over, does it mean I'm not needed? How does Pipefy balance this conversation around efficiency with maintaining a level of team involvement, personalization within the team, and the human insight into that workflow process?
That's a really good question. I do not believe about like humans just being replaced by the AI. I think like AI, it's an amplifying factor in everyone's productivity. And just for the following examples, like almost in every job in the planet, you're going to be amplified by the usage of AI. And usually people, if you look to complex tasks or complex projects, it's an end-to-end journey. Like if you work in recruiting, you never hire someone without any type of human intervention or any type of human decision making. But that journey that usually takes a lot of time from the decision maker or recruiter can be drastically improved in terms of speed and quality by the use of AI. And that's where I think that's more the impact and how it will transform the day-to-day of teams. Everyone will be amplified. And if you do not use AI as the extension of your brain, probably are going to be left behind. And professionals using it properly, they're going to be able to deliver far more or better.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you. I think, as I talk to my team, so I run marketing at Insight Partners, and we often talk about how will we be able to do more? How will I be able to spend more time thinking creatively, or, really understanding our customer, understanding the journey they're on, because AI is going to be taking so much of that, mundane outreach and research and make it even more efficient and more accessible. And I think it's that accessibility, which is an interesting point that I want to touch on. Because, as we all know, one of the promises, other than efficiency, of AI is really to democratize how every person of a team, and every time I hear you talk, you're always talking about the teams and the team structure. And so it's really democratizing access to these powerful tools for an entire team. So how does Pipefy, and how do you think about incorporating AI across all these different workflows and all these different journeys to make it really accessible for tiny, tiny teams or really large organizations as well?
I think the key and I think the success factor for any company working in this space, and I'm proud to say that Pipefy is doing that, is balancing super well exactly that reliability, security, with a true capacity to empower citizen development and let non-technical professionals use the platform and improve their day-to-day. I think like most of the solutions, even like previously with like workflow automation or no code, you have like no codes and no codes. You have like AI agents and AI agents. When you think about enabling people to use that technology, most of those things is still required a lot of development or coding in the back end. I think that at least the way we see at Pipefy, we are obsessive about the user experience and make it easy, intuitive enough to let that massive audience of non-technical professionals to be able to use that on daily basis. So here internally for us, it means we are obsessive about UX and UI. We are obsessive about the learning curve of the user in such a way that can make it easier and intuitive to those professionals use on their day-to-day. We use a lot AI on top of our platform to make that same old journey much, much easier. Like, what I'm going to ask you to create maybe the best marketing content creation workflow if you already have a powerful AI engine that actually you can ask me with natural language, like, hey, help me create a content marketing workflow based on best practices. We already have all that knowledge. We already have all that intelligence. We can drastically improve that journey and make the life of that end user much easier, not just in terms of the setup of the technology and make it easier, but even embedding as well the best practice for most of those workflows.
I'm going to go slightly off my many questions because I've just thought of another one. I think what you're saying is so critical for every AI company, and anyone that's listening in live, if you do have questions for Alessio, please pop them in the chat and we'll see if we can get to them. But I think that customer usability and really thinking about, as you said, that customer obsession is just so critical, because this is such an emerging and evolving, can be relatively confusing space. How are you as the CEO indoctrinating that mentality into the business that you're building?
Into the business, to our team, to our customers as well. I think the key success factor is keep a close eye on the problem you are trying to solve. Because like the problem, it always will be there. And the pace of the technology and all the new solutions and models being developed, it's moving super, super fast. I think the key thing is there's a massive gap between all the new tech stack that's already available and coming almost like on daily basis now to the field, the real life, where people are using on daily basis, how fast we're going to be able to connect the dots and deliver those solutions to those users that truly need to be impacted by that technology. And I always tell to my teams, like, hey, focus on the problem, focus on the job to be done, see if we truly manage to generate business impact and change the life of our customers. But also we have the same conversation with our customers, because sometimes they reach out to us like, hey, we have an OKR here, we need to implement AI in X many processes until the end of the year and so on. It's like, yes, but what you are trying to solve? You're trying to reduce costs, create like ultra personalized experience. You are like, you need to improve your lead time, you want to increase like the productivity of your employees. What's the key thing here? What's your success criteria? And then think about the art of possible, how that journey can be different. And then the technology will be just an enabler of the change. I think that's more or less how we think. And we do not seek so much with the own technology we develop. We keep a close eye on what our customers need and how fast we can make those customers successful.
I absolutely love what you've just said, that I don't think there's one boardroom that I've heard about, one meeting that has happened that people aren't saying, well, how are we going to use AI? What are we going to do with AI? You said it, I've got an OKR to put AI in practice. That's the wrong question. The right question is what you just said. What is your goal? What are you trying to solve? And then how can solutions like Pipefy, or how can we sit back and think, how can AI enable this to be more effective and successful? I think that is a brilliant thing to say, but I interrupted you. What were you going to?
Yeah, and in line to what you just shared, the key thing is, in the end, you need to connect two extremes that live in opposite sides. In one side, like you have like technical in the software engineers and AI professionals that know a lot about the tech stack and how the technology is evolving, but they do not know so much about the problem, about the impact of that problem, and how that journey can be different. And on the other extreme, you have like the business users, the guys who truly live that and are impacted by the negative outcomes of that given journey that you can improve with AI. And basically, you need to connect both of those worlds, because at least when I chat with most of my customers, they do not have a complex technology problem. Most of the technology problem they're going to use, even in the next 5 years, it's already developed. There are so many different models now available already in the market. The key things is, first, they don't know what they don't know. They are not even aware they could have a complete different experience empowered with AI. And then it comes a second thing, which is, now I know my experience could be drastically different. Do I know how to use this technology? But this is just the second step of that journey as well. And those things combined, that's where I think we are about to see a massive change, because like people are getting educated that life can be completely different by all the examples they are seeing in the news, or when you have a great experience and you see it's AI powered. But also the barriers to deploy the technology, it's falling drastically. It's like using Adobe Photoshop 3 years ago and using now Adobe Photoshop, or even using ChatGPT to create a cool 3D image for you. You know, it's changing so much.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So let's push on that a little bit more. So these non-technical users, like myself, explain to us the role of no-code. So assume I know nothing. Explain to me no-code platforms and why I, as a non-technical user, should be excited about these opportunities, and kind of unearth and demystify for me what the process of me using a no-code tool would look like.
It's an awesome question, and I'll use a few metaphors. Imagine when you look about any type of no-code platform, it's like a massive box of Lego blocks. And you can build almost anything, and you can connect all those pieces to instead of building and shipping pure software, you just combine all those pieces together and you design any type of workflow in a matter of like minutes or hours. It's much easier. You can quite solve complex problems already with all the platforms already available in the market. A few platforms are truly no code and are super focused on the citizen, the guy who's not any technical at all. There are a few ones that require a little bit of technical expertise or training. It changed a little bit. Now, how AI is changing that drastically. Imagine you have all that no code capability that you can do workflows, you can have databases, you can have reports, portals, and all those things. And usually it requires some technical expertise or time to
Time.
learn how to use those legal blocks.
Yep.
When you add a Gen AI layer on top of it, basically you train the AI on how to use and build those apps. And instead of you truly having to learn how to combine all those pieces and stitch them together, actually you ask the AI with natural language, like, hey, I just want to create a reimbursement of expense and want to use AI to read all the receipts and approve or not that request based on our company's policies. Build that for me. It looks crazy and almost like vaporware, but that's exactly the type of technology it's already available.
Wow.
That's exactly the thing when you create a 3D image on ChatGPT, and my mother, she loves creating images of my dogs using cool images and all those
Yeah.
things. Imagine only 3 years ago, she had to be a 3D specialist. Probably she had to have like a Mac and a cool tech stack. And that journey, it got drastically simplified. And most of the workflow, the no code platforms, iPaaS, integrations platforms, they're going to go through this massive transformation where you do not need so much anymore to learn how to use those things because the AI will do for you. And you're going to ask most of those things with natural language, like create a dashboard to track the expense by category, create a workflow to manage my HR service desk. That will be built mostly by citizen developers with natural language. It's already happening.
Fantastic. I mean, what that tells me is all the questions that I've asked my team to build me that dashboard, roll out that plan, build that campaign. If they're thinking with AI, they're going to be able to go and use tools to make their job much more effective, and be able to get the job done sooner. So what that also tells me is that how we as employees in all of our different roles, we need to start to think differently. Now, I want to focus on your role. You're a CEO. How should CEOs be thinking about the evolution of employee roles and about how CEOs should be really thinking about this intersection of AI and leadership?
I will I'll break like in two pieces. First, as a CEO, there are many decisions and analysis and things you need to learn on daily basis. And if you still are doing that in an analogical way and you're not benefiting from AI to make better decisions or to go much deeply on most of those topics you need to engage with your team, it's already a red flag. There's going to be other CEOs doing a job much better than you are doing if you are not using the technology already. A draft for a board meeting, like proofread, like you can do a lot of stuff just by using your daily basis. Second, as a CEO for teams, I think the key factor, and I always chat with my customers as well, is how fast you are educating your teams about the art of possible, about where they could be embedding AI in their day to day. It's to like reduce their manual labor. It's to make better decisions. It's to put AI to work for them and find trends and help them move faster based on what's happening their day to day. So the art of possible, it's one extreme and it's super important, but also how to do it properly with security, with a good governance, by having a good partnership with your IT teams, because you do not want to expose your operations to any type of risk. And I think empowering them to get out of the comfort zone and think their day-to-day work can be drastically different if they stop to rethink most of their processes and how they could be using AI but also teach them how to properly partner with their own IT organizations on how to do it right with the proper governance.
Yeah, I mean, as I think about 10, 15 years ago, when we were going through the shadow IT challenges in the cybersecurity industry and all the hacks that we saw because people were using unapproved applications, I don't want us to head towards an era of shadow AI where people are using. So I think that's an incredibly poignant tip. And just to encourage people to test, to learn, to try, to get out of their comfort zone. I like the way that you said that, but to do it in a thoughtful, compliant way so that we can build effectively. Alessio, is there any final parting tips as you talk to kind of leaders and non-technical users like myself about stretching themselves, testing their comfort zones? What are the final pieces of advice from Pipefy?
I think my advice is when you're rethinking your operations and thinking how you can execute better or how you can deliver a better experience to your customer, do not look to your current tech stack, your current technologies, and use as a premises about how that experience can be. I think you need to start with the final big picture about how ideally that journey could be. And from there, you need to rethink your processes and rethink your technology to see how you can achieve that outcome. Because that's important. Like there's almost like an anti-business or anti-change type of professionals inside organizations that instead of them just incentivizing people to reinvent and be innovative, they're like, oh no, this is like our tech stack doesn't know. Oh no, this is like too hard. We tried 2-3 times many years ago and it didn't work. The key thing is do not look your constraints in terms of resources, people, or even the technology. Think in terms of what you want to achieve. If you have unlimited time and limited resources and then the best professionals in the planet, how that experience will be. Truly think what greatness look like. And from there work from that vision to see how you're going to transform your day to day. And in most of those situations, when we do those workshops with our customers, actually they end up realizing that most of the technology is already available and super easy.
It's not as hard as they think.
Yeah, not as hard as they think. But they need to change how they fundamentally digest most of those problems.
I love that. So to summarize for everyone who's listened in, start, test, think, and put a pie in the sky vision out there, and then start to break it down and really start to bring AI out of the centers of excellence, out of your IT, who they know how this works. But each of us as business leaders, we know what our business needs are. We know what our business goals are. And now the ask from Alessio is that you start to think about how AI is going to help you accomplish that. So wonderful. It's very inspiring. And you've made it feel a lot more possible. So I really love that. Alessio, thank you so much for joining us on this LinkedIn Live. And I look forward to seeing you at Scale Up AI.
Thank you. I'm super excited.